how paradise was lost and humanity's consciousness plunged from 5D to 3D. In this segment, I want to discuss several very important things with you. You've heard me mention some of these things in previous segments of this webinar, but they're so important to understand that I want to repeat them for emphasis, and I want to round it up and summarize everything we talked about so you understand how this whole system works. As I said, we in fact live in a third dimensional or 3D physical world, which is done on purpose. This is the ultimate frontier. This is that final frontier of consciousness, not just galactic, universal consciousness. This is why earthly realm is so valuable. It is such an amazingly great experiment. We're so proud of it that we created this experiment because it actually allows us to experience very tangible things that are impossible in most worlds out there. But 3D world has a major disadvantage. It is so physical, it is so hands-on that in fact kind of few souls are able to ace it, using the word we already discussed in previous segments. It is very difficult to balance spirit, mind, emotions, and physicality, matter, all at the same time. Very difficult. And it's also very difficult to keep your perspective and your memory. Memory is generally lost in 3D world. Your true memory, your multidimensional memory, your origin memory. All that is lost in 3D. That is also done on purpose because basically the universe wants you to experience this world. Because you're not going to be living this life if you remember too much and pine away too much for some other life that you might have had somewhere else. Some memory, some elusive memory, it might be too disruptive. And some people who do remember more and they don't have a very strong and balanced system on all 4 levels that I just mentioned, they might not even survive this world. They might even go crazy. They may not want to live here, but we all come here with a mission. There are different missions, and make no mistake, there are a lot of souls in our 3D world, in our earthly existence, that are in fact lower level souls. There are even 1D souls here. They're very unconscious of everything. They're very new souls, or they're not very developed souls, and for whatever reason. 2D souls also not very developed. There are many 3D souls, and they're trying desperately to transition, to learn, to get into some kind of higher dimension. Of course, there are more and more advanced 4D, fourth dimensional, and 5D, fifth dimensional souls incarnated. And more are incarnating to help with this great earth shift. Because we need them. We need all of you guys. A lot of the people who are listening here, probably all of the people who are listening to my webinars, who participate on Patreon with me, they're all 4D and 5D souls. 6D, 7D, 8D souls and above, these are usually teachers to humanity. These are very advanced souls. They're very rare. They're very precious in our reality here. So I told you about the 4 levels, which are matter, or physicality, physical 3D world, then that there is emotional body that we all possess, then there is mind body, and then there is spirit above that. So what mind and emotional body serve to do, they are here to serve as a bridge, as an interface between spirit, thought, that high thought, high spirit, the universe, the divine world, and the matter, world of matter, which is Mother Earth, which is physical incarnation. They are an interface, they're a bridge. And we're here to experience them. We are here to finesse them, to grow through them. However, they are in fact also a hindrance for many people. From emotions, fear arises, greed arises, anger arises. And human mind, based on all these things, also develops ego. So there is egoic fear, there is egoic greed, egoic pride. All these things are connected to both mind and emotional bodies through ego. Ego is not a swear word. I will tell you right away. You see here in pictures, well, ego is bad. A lot of people malign ego. Ego is bad. Delete that ego. Who needs ego? In reality, you need ego to actually be in your physical body. You will not be able to be a sovereign being if you don't possess an ego. You will not be able to function in 3D world. You need that personal power. That's how it manifests, through the ego and through certain lower chakras. So ego is sitting in chakra number 1, number 2, and number 3 primarily. Personal power, solar plexus chakra, is where it's consolidated into your personal power. Without that, you cannot accomplish anything. You cannot master this life. You cannot teach others. A teacher has to have an ego. But there is a difference between healthy ego that works for you and ego that has taken over you. And so you become the slave of that ego. You become the slave of your fears, of your greed, of your pride. And look at these pictures that I've been showing you throughout, how it manifests. The majority of people are slaves of their ego. The point of self-mastery is not just to understand that you need to serve others, but also to be the master of your ego, but not squash your ego, not squash it down and malign and say, bad ego, bad ego. That only reinforces your ego. What you need to do is live in harmony with your ego, whatever that ego manifests as. You know, I talked about this a few times. We had consultations with quite a few people where we needed to bring up this issue of ego, where it's misunderstood what ego actually is, how to work with it. You don't work against yourself because it's part of you. It's part of your mind and emotional body. These two bodies are intertwined. You need them as a bridge between your spirit, between that high thought, between the cosmic and the matter, Mother Earth. So those same people who previously were maligning Mother Earth, that is all bad, woman is bad because she seduces a man, right? That's the logic of the old church logic, let's just say, right? This patriarchal world. That's why woman is bad, because she seduces the man. And what is the man then? He's a nobody, a toe rag, right? Anybody can do anything to him, right? Be in your power. You work with your ego. You work with your emotions. You control them, but not control in such a way that you squash them, okay? That's what we need to understand. And what humans have forgotten throughout the past millennia is how to be the master of yourself, of your ego, of your mind, body, spirit, everything, of your emotions. That's what initial Vedic knowledge, Vedic wisdom was about. How to be sovereign, how to be yourself, how to be the master of self, yet an intrinsic and harmonious part of all. And that's what we need to remember. So that's one part of our knowledge that has been forgotten. Another part of the knowledge that has not entirely been forgotten, but it is done unconsciously for the most part. It is creativity.